Yes, yes, yes! And I'm calling it the Nonary Game! Evidence Audition!
As the game is over, escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay.
I had no regrets. In fact, with finding Quark's successful escape, I felt a profound sense of relief. One of my objectives had been achieved, and a difficult choice had been made. My mind felt clear and focused, more so than it had in a long time. Alright, time to go get her Luna, and she's waiting. Luna, I knew you'd be here.
You knew?
Oh, right. We haven't talked here in this one, huh?
Isn't this nice? This is the only place in this whole facility with anything green. I kind of feel silly saying it, but it makes me think of the great outdoors. I think it's the perfect place for a serious conversation. Being surrounded by nature makes me feel happy. I'm not sure what you meant just now. Are you talking about something that happened in another history? I know what you can do. Someone told me about it once. They said that you have the ability to transport your consciousness through time.
Who told you that? Luna looked down at the music box around her neck. Carefully and delicately, she twisted the dial on the bottom.
Sigma, aren't you here to ask me something? Why I killed them, perhaps?
Well, actually, I already know you didn't do it.
Oh? Why do you think I didn't do it? I'd like to know your reasoning.
Alright. I nodded and took a moment to compose my thoughts. Might as well start with the old woman. There's no point beating around the bush, I suppose. Dio killed her.
Why do you think so?
Her left arm had blood splatter all the way up to the elbow, except for a stripe on the wrist that was perfectly clean. What could have caused that? My guess is a bracelet. It got covered with blood and kept her wrist clean. Obviously none of our bracelets had blood splatter on them, but Dio's bracelet reacted to the luminol. That meant Dio's bracelet had to have come from the old woman.
Is that your proof? That's why you think Dio killed her?
No, that's only enough to suspect him. After all, he could have just taken the bracelet after someone else killed her.
Why are you so sure?
Because he confessed. What? After his bracelet reacted to the luminol, I confronted him.
Alright, fine. You caught me. I did it. I killed the old bitch and took her bracelet.
Wait, when did that happen?
In a different timeline.
Isn't that against the rules?
What rules? I hope you're not going to try and bring up Nox's 10 Commandments. Does it really matter if it's against the rules or fair? The truth is the truth. Let's say that Incident P happens, and after that the timeline splits into Timeline A and Timeline B. I don't think it's unfair to base a theory in Timeline A on information I found in Timeline B. After all, A and B both came from the same place, P. If you trace the history of both timelines, you end up back at Incident P. Now if I could change what happened with Incident P by visiting Timeline A or B, then yes, it'd be a different story. I don't know that it'd be unfair per se, but it'd certainly be breaking some pretty big rules. Like, you know, the principle of causality. I'm sure that Dio killed the old woman. By extension, that means you couldn't have killed her. I'm assuming Dio wasn't originally intended to be part of the Nonary game. Somehow he got in and took the old woman's place. That's how he ended up as Quark's partner. This is just an educated guess, but I have a feeling his plan was to replace one of us. I doubt it mattered which one. I have no idea why he would want to do something like that, and I don't know how he did it either. But the fact remains that he did. He hid in the warehouse on floor A and waited for someone to come out of one of the AB rooms. That someone turned out to be the old woman. She left Quark asleep in the AB room and came out on her own. Somehow, he managed to get close enough to stab her. He did it near the wall with the graffiti on it. I'm guessing he stabbed her from behind so that he wouldn't get any blood on himself. As soon as she was dead, he wrapped the knife up in the handkerchief. No, wait, actually. He probably took the bracelet first. Then he would have needed to wipe the blood off, so he used the handkerchief for that too. Anyway, the point is he got the bracelet and put it on. Then he wrapped the knife up and hid it between the rightmost AV room and its neighbor. He probably didn't expect that they'd move, or he would have put it somewhere else. After that, he headed back into the AB room and the woman had left. Rourke would have still been fast asleep, so as far as he knew, Dio was there the whole time. That does raise a few other questions, but I'll save those for later. For now, let's move on to the other murders. Well, actually, one of them probably isn't a murder.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about Alice. I'm pretty sure she committed suicide.
All of humanity is going to die. Adults, children, everyone. Everyone! There won't be anyone left! I'd rather die here!
She'd been infected with Radical 6. I think that infection caused her to take her own life. She used Dio's knife, which she found in the warehouse after the AB room moved, and exposed it. She took it with her and then used it to stab herself in the crew quarters. Next are Clover and Tenyoji. First question is who put the handcuffs on them. The clue is the message Clover left, 016. If you think about it though, it doesn't make sense. Clover's left hand was in the handcuffs. That means she would have had to write with her right hand on her right thigh. I feel like it would have been really hard to do that, you know? Why not just use your left thigh? The thing is, I think she did. When she died, her legs slumped together and the message got transferred to the right thigh. We just never saw the original because we didn't bother to open up her legs and check. In other words, she wasn't trying to write 016. She was trying to write Dio. With her dying breath, she was trying to tell us the name of her killer. Now about Kay and Dio. I think there's a pretty good chance Dio killed Kay. Here's how I imagine it happened. Kay probably sprayed Dio's bracelet with the luminol. We found the bottle in Kay's robe. He wouldn't have seen the reaction immediately, but Dio would have known what was coming. As soon as Kay turned the lights off, it would be clear that Dio had taken the old woman's bracelet. My guess is he decided to take preemptive action. When we found their bodies, the lights in the rec room were on. Maybe Kay turned to switch the light off, and Dio took that opportunity to attack him. Kay was hurt pretty badly, but he didn't die right away. He probably managed to grab the spear and to stab Dio. Then he died. So that accounts for all 6 bodies. None of them are all your fault.
Sigma, I'm glad you don't think I did it, but all of your theories are just, well, theories. Like Alice committing suicide. How can you be sure? Say she was infected with Radical 6. She could have been murdered before her symptoms even began to present themselves. As for Clover and Tenmyoji, I could easily have killed them. You don't have any proof that Clover's message was mirrored like you say, or even that it was supposed to refer to Dio. Even if it did, that's not conclusive evidence of his guilt. The same goes for Kay and Dio. I could have killed them both. Why do you trust me so much? I'm a machine. I'm part of this place. How can you trust a machine?
That's why I trust you.
What?
I trust you because you're a robot. Your robotness is just one more reason you can't be the killer. Well, 3 more reasons.
Have you ever heard of the 3 laws of robotics?
Rule 1. A robot may not injure...
A robot without the 3 laws is just a bunch of metal and plastic.
We already know the 3 laws by now.
Sigma.
Luna, I have to ask you, can you tell me, well, everything you know? Your mind is the central server. You should know everything that's happened here. There was a long pause. Luna stood up and walked deeper into the garden. I followed her in silence. Eventually we reached the bench. Luna quietly sat down and, just like last time, I lowered myself down beside her.
You were right. I didn't kill them. How should I explain? Well, actually, you got most of it right.
That doesn't matter. Tell me everything.
Well, first, yes. Dio did sneak into the facility. He used the large cargo elevator and came into the warehouse on floor A through the number 9 door. Since the game hadn't started yet, anyone could go through it.
That doesn't really sound like sneaking. It sounds more like he just walked in.
Yes, I guess you could say that. He did get in pretty easily, but that's because Zero Jr. lured him here.
What do you mean?
Dio wasn't a surprise. Both Zeros knew that he was going to come.
So they brought him here.
In a way.
But why?
Because his presence was an important part of Zero's project.
What project?
I can't go into that right now. We'd be here forever. Right now, let's just focus on the murders, okay? Anyway, Dio found his way in. They made sure he didn't know that he was actually being let in.
So why did he come here?
To make sure Zero's project failed. His first step was to pretend to be one of the players. As for how he did that, you had it pretty much right. The old woman was the first one out, and he killed her under the graffiti. He put her bracelet on after he wiped the blood off it with the handkerchief. Then he wrapped the knife up and hid it between the 5th and 6th AB rooms.
5th and 6th?
Counting from the left in their original placement.
In other words, the rightmost room would be the 6th room, and the one next to it would be the 5th.
Right. After that, he went back into the 5th AB room where Quark was sleeping. Then he just waited for Quark to wake up.
What were you doing while that was happening?
Nothing. I couldn't do anything. My body had been turned off. Zero Jr. had powered me down. My body wasn't activated until after Dio went into the 5th room. I couldn't help her. All I could do was watch while she was murdered. Everything in this place is controlled by Zero Jr. I couldn't try and prevent Dio from getting in either.
Wait, if Zero Jr. controls everything, then he was the one who moved the 6th room with the crane?
Yes, that's right. Zero Jr. moved the room, not me.
Then who moved the old woman?
Me. It took me 10 minutes to get out of my AB room once I was turned back on. I ran over to check on her as soon as I did. Then I carried her back to the room I'd been in.
Why did you do that?
Because I was ordered to.
What?
Luna, listen to me very carefully. As you already know, the final stage of the project begins in 2 hours. This will be the culmination of many years of hard work. We cannot afford failure.
Yes, I understand.
Then let's make sure. What is your mission?
Enter the Nonary Game as one of the participants and observe the actions of the other players. Ensure that they do what they are supposed to and guide them down the correct paths.
How many players will there be?
Myself and 7 others, ma'am. Will you be participating as well?
Yes. Our plan dictates that I must. An individual by the name of Dio will be entering this facility presently. He has been led to believe he is doing so undetected. You've been briefed on him already, correct?
Yes. He will murder the first person to leave one of the AB rooms and take their place. If a pair is the first out, he'll probably kill both of them. That's all the information I've been given on him, ma'am.
Is there a problem?
With all due respect, ma'am, I would like to state that I don't feel right about this. We know someone is going to be killed, and we're just going to let it happen? I also have doubts about the use of Radical 6. Are you sure? Infecting all these people with such a horrible disease.
That is none of your concern. Your only concern is to follow your order.
But...
Luna, I am giving you an order. I am in command, and you do as I say. You are programmed to do as I say. You know this.
Yes.
Good. Now, I have one final order.
Another order, ma'am?
Yes. When you leave the AB room, the person Dio has killed will still be there. I would like you to move the...
Where?
To the room you are about to enter. The 6th AB room.
But... why?
Not your concern. As a participant in the game, you must have as little knowledge of it as possible. That is why I have made sure you are unable to access any classified data. There are things you must not know. In order for this project to succeed, we need you to be as close to a clean slate as possible. There are some things you already know, which ideally you would not. Unfortunately, this is unavoidable, so you must refrain from divulging anything you know about the project to the other participants. You must never tell anyone what you know about Dio, or the body, or that you carried it to the 6th AB room. You will have to pretend you know nothing more than the rest of the participants.
Is that an order?
Yes. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
It was Luna the whole time, and yet actually never.
After
It was
that,
Dio the
I
whole
went
time.
into the AB room as I'd been told to. As soon as I stepped inside, my body deactivated. But since my brain is in the main computer, I was still awake, so I still saw everything. While I waited, I used the security cameras to see what was going on in the rest of the facility.
And you saw the old woman being murdered.
Yes, it was hard. What I was seeing made no sense. Several of my higher level processes nearly failed. To think that she would be the first person to come out. I think she knew that Dio was going to kill her when she'd said she had one final order for me. I didn't understand what she meant. Like a fool, I told her I didn't approve, when I had no idea what she was prepared to do. When she died, whatever I have that passes for a heart felt like it snapped in two.
I think I understand. Everything you did because you've been ordered to.
Yes.
And it was the old woman who gave you those orders? But is she Zero Senior?
No.
What? But if she gave you the orders...
She did, but she wasn't the only person I took orders from.
There was someone else? And that person is Zero Senior?
Yes. We worked together to develop the project she mentioned. So I suppose, technically, my orders came from both of them. And they were both controlling Zero Junior, too. I told you before that Zero Junior moved the 6th AB room. Although that's strictly true, he didn't do it of his own free will. They ordered him to do it. He was following orders just like me.
But why?
I don't know. I really don't. Maybe they did it so that people wouldn't suspect me.
If they didn't want people to suspect you, then why have you moved the body in the first place? Eventually we'd figure out that the rooms had been moved and she was in your room.
Then maybe they wanted the opposite.
You mean...
Maybe they wanted you to suspect me.
That doesn't make sense either. If they wanted people to suspect you, why move the room?
You're right. Then maybe they only wanted certain people to be suspicious of me.
You mean like Alice?
Yes. Perhaps they wanted Alice to find the handkerchief and the knife. That would explain why they moved the room.
So they somehow knew Dio would hide the knife there.
Yes, I think so.
But how could they know that?
Well, whatever the reasons were, Alice did notice that the room was moved, which meant that Clover also figured it out. And just like you said, Alice used the knife to take her life. Clover didn't realize that, though. Or perhaps she didn't want to. In any event, she decided that I must have killed Alice to keep her quiet. So she confronted me. It was right after the second round of the AB game. Using Phi's timetable, that would be 0 hours, 0 minutes.
Wait, you were listening to us in the security office?
Yes, that wasn't all I was listening to, though. I know everything that happened in the facility after my body collapsed.
You were watching through the security cameras?
Yes, I was. I could see and hear everything. Anyway, we're at 0 hours, 0 minutes. I was in the hallway on floor A when Clover found me and took me to room 2 in the crew quarters. We entered at about 0 hours, 1 minute. She was very forceful.
I know you killed Alice. Tell me the truth, and I'll let you live. Now, fess up! I'm only gonna give you one chance. If you lie, or try to play dumb or something, I'll kill you right in front of her!
I told her the truth, of course. I explained that I hadn't killed Alice, that she'd been infected with Radical 6, and it had caused her to kill herself. Clover was never going to believe that, though. We argued about it for nearly 9 minutes. It wasn't just Alice she asked me about. She asked me about the murder of the old woman, and about the AB room being moved. She wasn't very nice about it, but I couldn't answer any of her questions.
Because of your orders?
Yes. Then, at about 0 hours, 10 minutes, she must have run out of patience. She stuck her hand in her pocket and started moving toward me. She backed me up against the wall and pulled her hand out of her pocket. She was holding the injection gun. I tried to take it away from her. I even screamed for help. She refused to let go, of course. While we were fighting over it,
Well, hold on a minute. The trigger got pulled in the fight, I get that part. What I don't understand is why it did anything to
you
you.
mean because I'm a golem?
Yeah.
One of my orders was always to act like I was one of the players. A human. Any human injected with that amount of tubocurarine would die.
That's why you, died? To keep up the facade that you were a human? Facade, sorry?
No. I collapsed because Zero Jr. turned off the power to my body again. He probably felt he had to. Maintaining the illusion that I was human was probably in his orders too. So to make it look like I had died, he'd turned the power off. Whatever the case, it was an accident. I don't think Clover ever intended to actually kill me. She only took the injection gun to try and threaten me.
How can you be sure?
When I collapsed, she looked terrified. She checked for my pulse and listened to see if I was breathing. She also shook my body and called out to me several times. If she'd meant to kill me, why do all that? After a few moments, she ran off to the infirmary to get the AED.
You mean the defibrillator?
Yes.
That uses an electric shock to restart the heart, right?
Correct.
So that was why she left?
Yes.
At 0 hours, 11 minutes, 40 seconds, Clover left the cabin in the crew quarters.
She ran off toward the infirmary. On the way, she bumped into Dio. Yes.
Dio?
I guess she just saw him, really. They didn't talk. She just ran past.
And he just watched her go
Yes. I imagine he was curious, of course. He probably wondered what she was doing. But he chose not to go after her. He had something else.
by. At 0 hours, 12 minutes, Dio enters the room.
He seemed pretty surprised to find my body.
Yeah, I bet.
It didn't take him long to get over it, though.
Wouldn't imagine it would. What did he do then?
He'd gone there for 2 reasons. One was to get Alice's bracelet, which was a blue solo.
Right. Without it, Dio and Kay, the yellow pair, wouldn't be able to get through the secondary door.
Yeah, but he couldn't find it.
Of course. If I'd already taken it by then.
Yes. But there was something else he wanted to do too. He was there to take the knife. Removing it was gruesome.
But why did he want the knife? Was it because he used it to kill the old woman?
No, I don't think so.
Then what do you think?
I think he didn't want anyone to see the engraving on the knife's blade. That's why he hid it so well after he killed the old woman.
Why wouldn't he want anyone to see that?
You remember what it said? There was a word engraved on the blade.
Myrmidons?
Yes.
What does Myrmidons
That's the
mean?
name of the organization he belongs to.
What is it? Like a club or
I
something?
don't think so.
Well, what is it then?
I don't really know.
No
I'm
idea?
afraid not.
Wait, wasn't he here to try and stop whatever Zero was
Yes.
doing? Then, wouldn't that mean he's on our side?
I don't know about that. He's killed 4 people. I'm not really sure he's on anyone's side.
You got a point. Damn it, this is ridiculous. I guess the enemy of my enemy isn't my friend, huh?
May I continue?
Yeah, keep going. After he took the knife, Dio riffled through what few belongings Alice had. Luna said he didn't seem to be looking for anything in particular. He was probably just checking to see if she had anything useful. That was where he found the key to Kay's suit. He didn't seem to have any particular reason for taking it, at least as far as Luna could tell. At 0 hours 13 minutes, Dio left the room.
He heard Kay opening the cyan door and ran out. When he left, he was heading toward the infirmary. My guess is that he was going after Clover. He found her with the AED. She was probably planning to just ignore him and head back. Theo didn't let her.
Hey, wait. Just what are you planning to do with that thing? Thinking about trying to resuscitate Luna? And why would you want to do that? You were the one who killed her, weren't you?
When Clover tried to push past Dio, Luna said, they began to fight.
The fuck do you think you're doing?
Dio pulled the knife out of his pocket and pointed it at Clover's throat. That was when he showed up.
Dio, what the hell are you doing? None of your goddamn business. Stay out of this, you senile old shit. Like hell, you son of a bitch.
He uttered a yell and leapt toward Dio. The younger man dodged him easily and lashed out with the knife. Tenmyoji caught Dio's hand with a grunt, and for a moment the two men struggled. Then, as the knife edged closer, he wrapped his other hand around the blade and tried to force it away. But Dio was a much younger and stronger man, and the wound Tenmyoji gave himself with the knife didn't do him any favors. He put up a valiant fight, but with a roar Dio threw him off. Tenmyoji collapsed to the floor.
What are you going to do?
Let's see. About this. You two really look great together, you know?
What are you going to do to us?
Isn't it obvious? I'm gonna handcuff you to a sink. Actually, I already have.
Are you gonna beat us to death or something?
Ugh, no. Nothing so tasteless.
What are you going to do then?
How'd you like to make a bet?
A bet?
You've got, 20-some minutes until the primary white doors open. So I'd say you've got 25 minutes until they close. Give or take. If somebody happens to come by here before the doors close, you might live. But if nobody finds you, well...
We'll be penalized.
Exactly. So, I suggest you start screaming for help now. Unfortunately for you, just about all the rooms in this place are behind at least 2 nice thick doors. So unless they're pretty close, nobody's gonna hear you scream. Well, I'm off to the Floor B warehouse, okay? Enjoy your last 25 minutes. Later.
Why did Dio kill them, though? Like, he has no motive.